How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you another Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation episode review. We're in season 2, episode 23, entitled Parents. And before I go any further, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of more reviews like this one. If you want to support me even further, my Patreon link is in the description below. I know I'm a day or so behind. I had some. It was a weekend. Matter of fact, it was Father's Day weekend. And this episode, oh my God, to show this on Father's Day, diabolical. Whew, this episode is heavy. And so I got my notes here. Let's take this bit by bit, right? So, little recap, we found the secret circle so we can get inside where the guardian is, the boss of the dungeon, if you will. And as they're all getting ready, Roxy gave Rudy 3 healing scrolls, right? He can't do silent healing, which is interesting. I guess he never trained himself to learn how it feels to heal others. I don't know. It's a decent handicap, right? Dude needs a handicap. And they're all checking their gear and they're getting ready. Because Paul's like, let's just press forward. Because Guy said, well, we could leave and come back. It wouldn't hurt. And Paul just wants to press forward, right? And he's about to say something to Rudy. And he's like, I shouldn't say this, but... And Rudy's like, well, then don't. Just say it when we're done. Now, I truly want to know if what he wanted to say is what he said later on. So before I get into this big heartbreak, let's go ahead and talk about the fight. They are fighting what Roxy identified as a Manatite Hydra. This damn thing, I'm gonna give you some stats for this damn thing. Has 9 heads. I did a bit of counting. 9 heads. The heads grow back, so not like the Hercules or Heracles myth where like you cut off one head, 2 rise, Hell Hydra. Not like that. It's head cuts off. After a while, head grows back. Can blow atomic fire. We found that out towards the end when there were 3 heads left, but I'll get into that. Can block magic. So there's a shrieking sound, a ring, and then when Rudy and what's homegirl Roxy, they did their long range attacks. Cause Rudy's little earth drill, that thing heats up and it burns through. Just broke off. Even one tall hand. I don't know what tall hands. What would you call tall hand? Because he has that weapon. I don't know if it's a staff or if it's like a magical focus weapon, because he does spell. He did earth, actually all of them could do spells except for Paul. He did like earth pillar, still disperse. This thing can disperse all kinds of magic, right? You have to be point blank to do any magical damage to it. Thank you, Roxy, for a lot of information. And then Rudy says, well, I heard that Hydras, you have to burn where you cut so they don't grow back, which is actually true. Granted, he's like, well, I heard, it's by Hercules, and it was a myth. I don't know if it's true. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, bro, you died and came back with a new body in a different world. You've seen dragons. You've seen griffins. Shut the fuck up. It's obviously real. So, part 1 of this fight. So cool. And it was a bit of a cluster, but you got Paul running in. As soon as he sees Zenith and the crystal that this thing is around, this thing just kind of just sleeps, gets up, fights, sleeps again. Paul is the only one that can cut the head off of this. The head's off. He's like cutting it. You have Elenise like blocking for him. She even took a bit of damage when blocking from on her arm. And I said, damn, I didn't realize she got hurt. She said it was just a scratch, but sheesh. She got hurt twice. Thank goodness for Roxy with the healing. What else here? They had to fight, then they regrouped, and I like the regroup because you had Rudy use a steam spell They had to run up on Paul because they're like, we need to regroup, bro. And I thought Geese chopped him in the neck, but no, he didn't chop him in the neck. They just said, Geese, you and Elise go get him so we can leave. And so, you know, they had to file out, regroup. Man, that second fight. This season, the action has if it's the same person that's animating the regular scenes as animating the action parts, it is so well done. Because that second fight, just damn. This is when you think of Dungeons and Dragons, when you think of D&D, when you think of fantasy, this is it. With a little bit of the anime styling, because they name their techniques. They have to say their techniques out loud, and I personally like it when they do things like that. And so in the second fight, you have Roxy as cleric, although she does get the finishing blow. You have Roxy as cleric, Tall Hand is back up, Geese stays back. Geese doesn't fight, so he is like your rogue, even though technically rogues do fight in D&D, right? They can fight the dragon with you, but Geese stays back. Everyone else is the one doing the fighting. He's the analyzer. He's your Futaba if you play Persona 5, right? And so he's your navigator. And so in this second fight, they've already come up with the plan. The plan is Paul cuts the heads, Rudy used the flame to sear it. Now he tested again, make sure that he couldn't get close. He couldn't do the fireball unless he was close. So he does the fire move close, and it's fast and wily. The fact that they're able to navigate through this fight, I like that. Not all members are clustered together. They come together when they need to, and they run around as well. We have moments where, Paul cuts the head, Rudy burns them off. You have another moment where two heads are coming in. So Lise comes in with, the buckler and the blade, bounces one, Tall Hand bounces the other. Paul cuts the third, and Rudy burns it point blank. One grabbed on the Tall Hand's leg and was about to... He about to be one dead dwarf man, right? I think him and Roxy were running. He was like, watch out, Roxy, right? Paul saved him, of course, burned the hedge. Even Roxy did a little flamethrower before the end part, right? One of the coolest things was Elenais doing... Actually... I'm kind of mixing up my notes here, but I'm going to say this part first. She has to stab the head and then freeze it, and then Roxy hit it with the flamethrower, or hits the stump, because the Hydra, and Rudy's like, wait a minute, something's wrong. The Hydra gets smart, right? It bites one of the, the dormant, stumpy necks, bites it off so that it can regrow again. That is... I would have never thought about that. That's actually pretty damn cool. So they have to act accordingly. One of the most tense and cool parts was Rudy telling everybody to get behind him. I told you about the three heads doing I call it atomic breath. It was atomic fire breath. And he does his water bubble shield, which the animation on that, just the flames being parted, and he's just struggling to keep that dense shield up. Part one fight, I really liked when Roxy, when Paul and when Elenais had defended Paul and they were both down in front of it, she did the bubble thing to bring them forward. That was actually pretty cool. It's inventive ways of using magic that I really liked about this. Now, in order to get that finishing blow, though, what should I say? So... I don't want to blame Rudy, but Rudy kind of messed up a little bit. When they got down to three heads and he blocked the flames and they're cutting off one, he burned off, Rudy's like, we're almost through with this. And at one moment, the hesitation, one was about to come and get him, and Paul kicked him out of the way. Now, he is eye to eye with this last head. Sticks his arm in there, does the earth drill from the inside out. It picks him up, it flings him around. The force is so strong, rips off this man's arm. Like, it just rips right off. And he's like, Roxy! And Roxy does the thing, burns it. It's done. This thing is done. Pardon me. Next part of my notes. Rudy's the healing thing he did, this specific healing chant, because Roxy ends up healing Elenice again, but this specific healing chant, I guess, was supposed to regrow things. He's like, I'm not strong enough to regrow a limb because it was cut here. You just see a bloop, and it stops. He just lost a hand, so he's minus a hand, and he's pretty damn calm about that too. But at the end of all this, as you would have guessed, when I say Paul took the hit for him, he did, because Paul was basically, it looked like to me, he was cut in half. I think he was cut in half. You know, he's splayed upside down. And everyone had already, the others have kind of processing it. They're super duper sad. A lot they've done. Lisa's been around for hundreds of years, so she's just like, damn. Everyone's quiet, and Rudy's like, but why? And the last thing Paul did when he sees his son is okay, he smiles a little bit. That blood comes out on that eye, but he smiles. So I have a theory about that smile, right? And we're going to talk about the last convo he had with Rudy and all of them, but that smile he gave, so the last thing he said, and I don't know if this is what he meant to tell him or he meant to say to him, he said, there's something a parent should never say to a child, but rescue your mom even if it kills you. And Rudy's like, damn, that is something you shouldn't say. That just proves how much faith Paul has in his abilities, and it shows his resolve and his determination, because before his personal convo with Rudy, he was talking to the others, talking to Roxy, Geese, Elenice, Tall Hand. Am I forgetting anybody? Roxy, Elenice, Tall Hand, Geese. Yeah, 4. He will be 5. He's talking to them and he's telling you all follow me all around. We've been through a lot. I appreciate you guys. You know, I asked so much of you and you've given me so much. And they're like, naturally, of course we're going to help you out, right? And he says, whether we rescue her or not, this is the last thing. This is it. So he's just like, yeah, we're going to do this. If we do it, we do it. If we don't, we don't. And then he has that conversation with Rudy. So I wonder if that smile came from, you know, seeing Rudy's okay and then saying like, yeah, you did it. Like, Rudy, technically, it's kind of dangerous for a spellcaster to get super close. And the fact that he kept getting up close while he was needed, he came in clutch several times. Or maybe it was that he saw emotion. Now, one of the things that I'm skipping over my notes here is we were talking about Rudy being calm and collected. Now, we know back in the earlier parts of season 1, he was different acting because he's technically a 35-year-old soul reborn with all his memories, the maturity, the thoughts, the intelligence. But here, we get a flashback of like Zenith cleaning Rudy when he's a little boy. You know, they did you know how in old Dragon Ball, for some reason, I don't know what it is in anime, but they just like showing like somebody washing the kids up. And I'm like, can you put a censor bar there, please? I digress. You see that, you see like when he was first born, that very first scene we saw. And, you know, Paul's questioning, he's like, why are you not upset? Like, why are you not emotional like me? Why are you not angry? You know, grabbing the son by the thing. You think, oh man, they're going to fight again. And Rudy's just, he looks sad. At the same time, he's just like calm. Because he even says, do you think she's alive? Like, she's in this big ass crystal. Do you think she's even alive? Do you think like... And Paul's like, does that even make a difference? He's like, I guess it doesn't. Because regardless of such, you're going to get her body and take her back, right? Or, and Paul just kind of has this bit of look of disdain. Seems like disdain, right? And Rudy's like, am I being too calm? Like, he hasn't seen his mother in 10 years. He hasn't seen her since he was 7. So it's about over 10 years. So he's what, 16, 17? I mean, 17, 18 right now. He hasn't seen her over 10 years. He's like, at this point, it's less like she's my mom and more like someone who I lived with. Which... I get him analyzing those feelings, like trying to figure it out, because he hasn't seen her in a while. But he needs to give himself a little bit more credit, because he went looking for his mother and father. Found his dad. His dad is still looking. Was still looking for. He was happy when he found. Well, they weren't happy initially because they were clashing heads, but happy. He gets happier when he finds Lilia, because he hadn't seen Lilia since he was, he's seen her a lot sooner than he saw his mom at this point. But you get the feeling like he's overanalyzing it. That's typically what this character does. Analyzes good, but he overanalyzes, right? And I wonder if part of Paul's smile was like, oh, he does care. Because you could see he's like, no, you weren't supposed to die during all this. And he really wasn't. He also never really said I love you to his son, right? He never said that. I know it's implied. I think it's very important that when you whether it's a relative, a close friend, family member, significant other, what have you let people know you love them, that you care about them. You really should. Kind of a shame. I don't know if that's a Japanese thing. Kind of feels like it's a Japanese thing, right? But didn't really say it, but we know he cares about his family. We know Paul cares about his family. Another part of the conversation before I get to even more sad shit. Roxy says, well, I'm sure I can fix her. I can get her out. I know I can. And Elenise is like, yeah, I know someone who is crystallized, and I promise you they're alive and well today. I'm just going to spoil that for you. It's her. I know that because it's her. And I knew Paul was going to die, but I didn't think I would still be this upset. I didn't know how. I just knew he didn't make it out of this. Damn. But I'm spoiling that for you. It's her. It's obviously her. When she goes, I don't know. It's a person, though. It's you. You just don't want to get into the details. So, as much as I know that I know it's her. Or do I? But obviously they got Zenith out. They carry her back. They get back to the base of operations. And the girl who overly wears the stuff, she breaks down and cries. Everyone is upset. I love the fact that instead of Lilia having, like, obviously she's upset. That was the father of her child. But I love the fact that she goes to Rudy and embraces him and is like, you got to be tired. Just, go and rest. As Rudy sees the moth to a flame, and we get the scene of them giving him a Viking funeral. They burn the body. He even tried to, I guess, pick up a piece of his father, and it crumbled. If they had rings, I hope he took, his dad's ring, the wedding band. I hope he took the ring at least. Took something from his dad besides his looks and part of his personality. But yeah. So with the sadness gets even sadder because after 4 days, Zenith finally wakes up and she can't speak. She's bop, boppity boop bop. And Lily is distraught. You see it on Rudeus' face. Man, the facial animations are so good. Like just that shock and horror of like, oh shit. It seems like she's a blank slate. The Hydra was in 3D. I almost forgot about that. Hydra was in 3D. Versus Crew. Yeah, I switched around some of the things I'm going to talk about. The next episode, though, is Let's Go Home. It's time to go home. Now, before I touch on that, the end credits for this, which is when they got back, Mr. One Hand Rudy, and he falling in the bed with the other arm up, and he thinks of what happened. God, he needs to have a good cry. But I'm thinking about Norn, right? Remember, Norn just got over the fact that, her and her brother fought. Or should I say, she thinks her brother hated her dad. And then she's like, well, I need you to go. Since you won't go, I'll go. And he's like, all right, I'll go. And then he goes. And then when he comes back, he's going to be like, yeah, no, Dad's dead. That's so diabolical to have this episode on Father's Day, bro. Damn. You just, I I didn't think I would be that sad. I did. I cried a little bit because it's like, damn, he lost his dad on Father's Day. On top of all that, you didn't expect it. You wouldn't have expected it to end that way. But yeah, this is the grittiness of this. This is such a big episode. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5 because of that sad ass music into the credits. The emotions behind it. You get tons of layers here, and I sincerely wonder if we're gonna come back to the whole Rudy struggling, going, well, damn, I haven't seen my mom in so long. Well, okay, well, your mom is back now. What did I say? This is episode 23. We at least next episode is probably the last of the season. If not, we get maybe 2 more. Maybe we get 2 more. I don't think we're going to go to 3, but we at least have 2 more. This is just deep. 5 out of 5 for me. Let me know what you thought. Rest in peace, Paul. Some people say he was a good dad. A good father. I don't know. Say this little bit when it comes to Paul. He tried. He was a man that knew he had flaws, and he was so down on himself, especially after, the mistake he made of falling into the seductions of Lilia. But he finally got a moment, and this is kind of where you can't be too sad. His son showed up to help him. He was able, after reconciling, right? Because you would think that Rudy was like, all right, even though we reconciled, I don't want to be in that situation again. He reconciled with his son. He's able to share adult moments with his son, talking about things like that. His son was able to see how fucking cool he was. Paul was legitimately cool. You're talking about a dude with no magic, running in there, slicing up giant spiders, cutting the heads off of a hydra, which is technically a multi-headed dragon. He was doing the damn thing. So, for sure, was he a good dad? That's up to his kids to decide. He seems like he was trying his best. He was a good friend, decent dude. You feel for his family because he was obviously loved in the series. So, damn, Paul. It's too bad you can't see your grandkid, man. Or grandkids. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you have not, so you'll be notified of more reviews like this one. Please be good, be blessed, wash those hands, drink some water, be safe out there. All right, be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk. And when you're feeling sad and down and out, make sure you reach out to someone. And as a matter of fact, if you see someone that could use a helping hand, reach out to somebody. All right, there are people out there that would rather see you today than to miss you and mourn you tomorrow. I appreciate all of you. If you want to follow me, my social medias are down there below, right underneath that Patreon. So, subscribe to Patreon if you want to support me even further. Until next time, guys, I still don't have a send off for this series, but man, next week's episode is probably going to be sad too. Don't forget about the 2 swords, Rudy. Don't forget about the 2 swords.